Preston Leinenbach with OttersTV. Pleasure to be joined virtually via Zoom by Evansville Otters president John Stanley. John, I appreciate the time and great catching up with you.
Preston, thank you. And I'm enjoying looking at your backdrop of Bossy Field with the green grass and looking like we should be ready to play a game right now.
Yeah, it doesn't quite in reality look like that right now at this moment as we're here in the middle of the winter months. But that's exactly what we hope to see come this coming year in 2021 in the summer months, hopefully in May. John, I just kind of want to start off through this point in the off season and obviously in reflection of everything that happened this past year. What's kind of the status of where everything may lie going forward into 2021 at this point?
Well, we've had multiple discussions with the other owners over the course of the last couple of months about when we can play and how we could play. And it continues to change regularly. One thing is very consistent. Everyone wants to play and everyone expects to play. So we're working toward what would be a traditional schedule as far as the dates are concerned. For travel purposes and a variety of other things, we may have to take a look at playing more regional teams this year, depending on what happens. And we're willing to make all of those adjustments if we're able to play. And I know our fans wants to play, our staff wants to play, and certainly we are seeing that sense throughout the league.
And again, going forward and looking ahead, of course, here recently and within the last couple of weeks, there's of course been the news of the distribution of the vaccines going out across the country, and obviously there's still a lot of time left to go before it becomes available to everybody at this point. But with that news and kind of the ball rolling with that, with the vaccines, how does that kind of impact the discussions across the Frontier League and I guess the optimism that it's happening at this point?
Well, it's certainly been a lot more upbeat, and there's hope that it works. And even doing the numbers, many people are saying that even by spring, May and June, even at the latest, is that everyone will have had an opportunity to get a vaccine. All that, of course, remains to be seen. I would be hopeful. Our season generally starts at the start of May for some exhibition games, but for regular season, it would be in mid-May. So we were right on a timeline that should allow that to happen. Interestingly enough, because we also have Canadian teams, their timetable is different and their border is still closed and the vaccine is uncertain as to when it would become available. So in the normal scheduling, we're having to consider basically what's happening in two different countries in doing our assessment. But fundamentally, to your point about the vaccine and everyone's hope, I would be say that we're still trying to be on track. There's a possibility that we could move it back a couple weeks or something if we need to. We certainly have the flexibility in the scheduling. You get when we talk about the schedule for our fans and everyone else to know about it, we need to be able to tell them here's where the games are. So that's another whole issue is what date can we get a schedule out, and we're working on that right now, that we have a preliminary schedule out by this winter.
Talking more about the Otters and more specifically, when this airs on our YouTube channel for the first time and across social media, will be close to the time of the normal presidential State of the Union address. So if you could, for our fans, just kind of give an Otters State of the Union type address and where things stand just for the Evansville Otters as an organization individually.
Well, I feel optimistic about everything. If we want to start with the facility itself, last year we were going to have a grand opening that would allow fans to see our new video board, which I would say really, I would almost view it as your video board, Preston, because everything that goes on there, you're probably going to design and make because you have the skill to do it. But I think our fans will be very excited to see what that's like. And then certainly we have added new lights that are going to be able to flash and be very creative in what we use and how we use them. LED lighting, it's very bright. It's going to look very pretty at Bosley Field. So we're excited about the facility for starters. We want to play teams. We've got our old friends, and Florence has changed their names since we last played. They're now the Y'alls instead of the Freedom, and different owners, and so it'll be anxious to be like that. And I just make the other comment on is from a competitive standpoint, with all the changes in Major League Baseball, I think that the players that will be on our team will be very good. We'll be seeing a lot of players that will have gotten out of college and maybe gotten drafted, but are still at a very high level, along with some of the players that we've had in the past. But that combination is going to make it really fun for the fans. So I can stop on the competitive part and the facility part and see if you have any other aspect you'd like to ask me about. But we are spending every day working on it, including how are we going to serve food and things like that operationally.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And I was about to bring up the fact that one new challenge, or a few new challenges for every organization across the nation in playing baseball, is the fact that going forward into a 2021 season and playing, is that there's at that time there still will be some limitations of the fan experience in some ways, and so a lot of teams are having to adapt in a lot of ways where the fans may not be able to get to participate in this area where they normally have in the past, or get to experience this, but yet teams are trying to come up with new creative ways to still kind of keep the fans engaged and involved in, whether it be with the action on the field or with just the atmosphere and the fun that you can have at a ballpark.
That's exactly right. And, there's going to be a heavy burden on our marketing department to make sure that we can still have the events. We want the Otter Bells to be able to dance. We want the music to go on. We want our fans to be near each other. But by that time, the requirements may be totally different. As you know, right now at the high school basketball games, or even U of E, the limit is 500 fans. USI has 0. And so we would like to change that. We can certainly open and play with a lower limit and space out safely where people can go. But what that looks like, we don't know. So we just need to prepare for all alternatives. I just know that our fans like our cheeseburgers, and they like our Ben's pretzels, and they like our inexpensive beer. And so we're going to make sure that we've got all those convenient and safe for everybody to do, along with all the other concession items that we provide as well.
Right. And kind of just thinking back, of course, a lot has changed in the last 9 months since the pandemic started, as it continued to change and monitored daily and monthly. And so we still have about 5.5 months till May, when normally our season will begin. So a lot can still improve, hopefully, cross fingers, before we get to that point as well, where maybe some of these restrictions and policies won't necessarily be as strict and tight, and we can get somewhat back to normal. And I also wanted to talk to you, John, about some of the stuff that has happened in the Frontier League, some of the big news items in the Frontier League this offseason. The first thing that did happen was the announcement of the Frontier League being named as a partner league for Major League Baseball. And we've, of course, as you mentioned earlier, the landscape of Major League Baseball and its affiliation to minor league baseball has changed quite a bit here within the last month or so. So with the Frontier League being named a partner league, if you can just kind of talk a little bit about that, and again, what hopefully some of the opportunities may develop out of that partnership.
There are a lot of things. Just let me start again on the competitive. Before, for those that follow baseball, you know that fundamentally there would be a AAA team, a AA team, an A team, and then a multitude of short seasons and one thing or another. So there were a lot of leagues. There were options for players to go to. Basically, right now they're going to have a short college bat season for right after the draft. And then they will have only a AAA, a AA, an A team, and then a Florida A team. So some of those divisions are going to go away, which is why there are contracted teams. The result of that, one way or the other, regardless of where those teams wind up landing, is that we will wind up being the next tier of where players go. There's now only a 5-round draft. What do you recall how many rounds they had before, Preston, before they changed it to the?
I believe it was all the way up to 40.
That's what I think too. So if you just put in your head 30 teams going 40 rounds and trying to sign players in there, and now they're only doing 5, you've got those 35 rounds of 30 teams in the league drafting those players. There are going to be a lot of players on the marketplace that will be looking for somewhere. I believe that Major League Baseball will be looking to the independent partner leagues, the Atlantic and the American Association and us for now, and taking a look at where what our players are doing and what they look like, and we will be a direct pipeline for players for them beyond their normal affiliated teams. And I think that's really, really a positive thing, and will make it even more enjoyable for our fans.
Yeah, and then of course it also will add some opportunities for promotions, marketing, community engagement as well with that partnership going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about too, with a big news item for the Frontier League this past fall timeline, I guess you would say. I keep saying off season, but this whole year has been an off season at this point. But going back to October with the announcement of Ottawa being granted a membership as an expansion team to the Frontier League, just talk about what it means adding them in that market to the Frontier League, and also maybe if there's any development on another prospect market that could be added going forward later on down the road, maybe.
There are, yes, to Ottawa. I mean, it's a wonderful city. They have a professional team, a hockey team up there with the Ottawa Senators. So it's a good sized market, and it really helps our Canadian teams and our travel for the East Coast and people when we get a chance to play. And I would suspect our Canadian trips will be alternate years for travel purposes anyway, that they'll like it. But as far as the league is concerned, we're now up to 15 teams. And recall that we were at 9, and there was a chance we were going to go to 8. So the Frontier League itself has strengthened dramatically over the last 12 months. And when you take a look at the markets that our teams are in right now, and you go around and you're talking about Quebec and Ottawa, in New York City and New Jersey and Chicago and Cleveland and Cincinnati and St. Louis, playing in Evansville, and teams like Evansville and Southern Illinois are on the small end of the population market. So it's really good that the number of people that will be watching Frontier League games is going to continue to grow. It'll be good for the people recognizing the name of Evansville, Indiana, as they watch the games, and it'll be good for so many more population being able to see those teams in those big markets and see Evansville as well.
And in that second point, I guess any kind of initiative to try to maybe get a 16th team to make it even for both divisions before the 2021 season, or is that something that may happen after this coming year?
I think that you could put that in as one of the major objectives is to never wind up on odd, because what happens with odd is that just for scheduling purposes, the league generally needs to develop a travel team, a team that'll just go for market-to-market play, because you can't get equality in the scheduling on odd. So you're making efforts to get to a 16 team or even more. There are many contracted teams. Everyone saw that in the market, and some of them would potentially be a fit and some of them not. But it's got to work for everyone. People have got to be interested in the league, and we have to be interested in the market. So we're having those discussions every day, but where we land will probably be a little bit more clear within the next couple months.
And then the last kind of final thing I wanted to talk to you about, within the last month, you were named the president of the board of directors for the Frontier League for the coming year, stepping into the place of the Rich Jose Sr., who is retiring from that position. So going forward into this year, what are some of the objectives, the task list you have along with the rest of the Frontier League involved for this coming year to set some goals for this year and some of the things you want to accomplish?
Yes, we really operate as a team. There's a management group of a handful of us that meet regularly and offer the guidance, but there is a lot of interaction between all of the owners, and it's interesting because it's a little bit different because we're now up to 15 when previously we had 8 or 9. So to get through some of the organizational things is a little bit more challenging than it used to be, but it's very interesting. And if you ask what the goals are that we've set out, we certainly are open to wanting to expand the league if it's possible, although we do not want to take markets that we don't feel would fit the league as to where we stand now. So expansion would be a positive thing for us, although it's not necessary. I think that we would like to enter into some kind of a platform arrangement where everybody could watch Frontier League games via streaming and the quality of stream. We've done our home games, but we've never really been able to go on the road too much. So that is a key goal: is can we move toward and do that as well. So I would say taking a look at the markets that we've got going right now, improving the brand through additional marketing, the competitive product improving, raising the profile through doing some streaming, would all be on the list of things that would be important for us to achieve during the next 12 months. But if I want to lead it with the number one thing, it's playing a season.
Definitely, that's for sure. Because one, we want to get back to playing baseball, and of course, this year everybody had to go basically an entire summer almost without any sports whatsoever, and that was tough to handle. I didn't know what to do with my spare time more often than not, and then plus we want to get our fans back into Bosse Field just to either come to an Otters game or come to any of the other extra events that we normally have here at Bosse Field as well. And to build off your point about getting kind of the viewership increase, I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Frontier League has built a strong reputation now as the longest and largest active tenured independent league in professional baseball. Of course, you already mentioned earlier the different markets that are involved in geographical reach. But right now, even though this year has been a tough year for everybody, it seems like the opportunity to kind of grow and expand the reputation and the brand of the Frontier League is maybe at an all-time high.
It is at an all-time high, and you just have to be careful in doing the priorities. I believe that we could get to doing all that, but when we talk to every owner, they're also very interested in how we're consistently going to be able to provide food in a safe manner, how we're going to do seating. So we're talking about a lot of operational things that will make our season good and fun for the fans going forward. Everyone operates as an independent franchise, and everyone owns their own team, much like you would see in Major League Baseball. And then the leadership group is sort of what we're doing right now. And then we have a commissioner in Bill Lee who also helps to oversee that. So it's really management by group. And the key things as we go forward in doing that are helping each other with best practices and how are we going to do this? How are we going to put up plastic, much like you see in the grocery stores? Are we going to have to hand out the food in a bag as opposed to handling? All that is being reviewed so that we will be ready and prepared to offer a safe and fun outing for our fans. And it's been a lot of fun talking about how that's going to work. And all I have to do then is come back and ask the staff if they'll go figure it out for us, and they do a great job doing that.
Well, we're definitely excited about what has been transpiring here within the early part of the fall and winter months, and going forward into, of course, January, February, into 2021 as well. John, I really do appreciate the time, and thanks for talking with me here on OttersTV and giving us a little bit of an update of what's been going on this off season.
Yes, thank you, Preston. I always enjoy talking to you as well, and to our fans that are listening. We are very hopeful that we will see you soon, and look forward to it because I miss a lot of the faces that I would see almost on a daily basis at the games.
That's John Stanley, president of the Evansville Otters. I'm Preston Leinenbach. This has been OttersTV.